Divorce Chronicles. Today I've come again. Biola, how are you doing? You guys have been waiting for me. Forgive me. It's been a really tough day, as in, you guys have no idea. You guys have no idea. It's just been one of those tough, tough days. How am I doing with my family? We're doing very well. We're doing very well. So there's quite a lot that I want to talk about. Sorry, I don't know why anytime I sit on this chair, my back starts to scratch me. Ever since I was a kid, my back used to itch me a lot. And I used to tell my mom to buy me a brush to scratch my back. I remember doing that as a child. And now that I'm grown, um, someone said, I'm so sad today. Rebecca, what's wrong? Nice watch. Oh, thanks. Santos. Yeah. Ah. So let's have this conversation. Divorce. Judy and Yule, according to reports, let me read the story to you, were dancing. Um, you know, we try to report the story as unbiased as possible. Instablog Niger says actor Yule Duche's first wife May reportedly files for divorce, sues him and his second wife for alleged adultery, asking for 100 million in damages. However, it now says Yule and his second wife Judy dance happily following reports that his first wife May filed $100 million naira lawsuit against them. You see, I don't know where to start this matter from. I think, in my humble opinion, I stand corrected. I do not, I'm not an authority on all things. Neither am I an authority on marriage or divorce. Suncap Red Oil, my number one gifter. Thank you so much. If you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen. Please, yesterday I forgot to polongo my market. Suncap Red Oil, my number one gifter. My number two gifter. Who's my number two gifter? User 7675. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm looking for my number one and my number two gifter. Follow my number one and my number two gifter. So you see, um, like I was saying, I'm not an authority on marriage or divorce. Been married and been divorced, and there are a few things I can say I've learned from the process. When I got divorced, one of the main things that I realized was a lot of couples are going through all sorts of issues in their marriages. But the problem is only a few are bold enough to take the step. You know, um, I wish you had been guided better. Uh, and when I say this, I tried to speak about this yesterday. Most people were not taking me seriously. I, from my experience, Tosin Olu, hi sis, I called you yesterday. I promised and I did call you. That Canadian Prime Minister is separated. We're going to talk about that. You see, when if you had problems with, but you see, it is a very, if you had left May and filed for a divorce, and then a year later gone to marry Judy, they will still drag Judy inside the matter. They will still drag Judy inside the matter. Unless he was wise enough to, I wouldn't, let me not use the word wise, because nobody is wise in this world. Unless he was discreet enough to take the divorce to one of those places, far away communities, where they can quickly get the divorce done, and then he moves on with marrying Judy. There are some people who got their divorces in 6 months, some 1 year. Mine took 5 years because it was contentious. If he had divorced from me, he doesn't realize the kind of trouble he's inside of. He doesn't realize it, because not because polygamy is bad, but the Nigerian constitution, or the Nigerian system, does not recognize polygamy, because we've based our legal framework on the British precedent. So it's going to be a really tough challenge. It's going to be really difficult for him to navigate the stormy waters that he's in now. And I want this message I'm giving you is not for you. It is not for Judy or for me. It is for you. Until Nigeria starts making divorce, you see, people need, there's no legal counseling when it comes to marriage. They'll give you, pastor will give you pastoral counseling. They will use Bible that was written by ancient farmers 2,000 years ago. They will use it to create a framework for your existence in 2023. And it's not even a proper understanding of the context of scripture, in context of their reality, in context of their system. They will try to modify it to suit their agenda and force it into 2022. I hereby recommend that every couple getting married, if you are a free nation couple, for instance, we are going to employ the services of a lawyer who is going to give you legal counsel before you get married. Understand what a prenup is. Understand what court marriage is. Understand what traditional marriage is. Understand what church marriage is, and understand all their legal concerns. They never do it for anybody. Nobody ever gets proper legal counseling with regards to marriage. Nobody ever gets it. You get church counseling that is more or less useless. You get your parental counseling that does not work in this dispensation, because what your mother took from your father, your wife will never take it from you. So the only thing that people actually need is, you guys need to understand it. Okay, you guys want to marry Abby. Dear husband, if you want to be polygamous, you cannot do court wedding or church wedding. You can only do traditional wedding. Dear wife, if your husband only does traditional wedding with you, these are the limitations of your union. What is a prenup? You have the way they check. Let me tell you, you want to get married now, they'll check your genotype. When you want to marry now, they will check whether you have HIV. If you have HIV, they will tell you not to marry. Nonsense things like that. But you see, at the end of the day, no one gives you that, especially in Nigeria. I'm sure in the West, they probably do. But in Nigeria, you need, let me tell you, someone said polygamy can't be forced on your spouse. If I marry you traditionally alone, it's not your choice. If I marry you according to the dictates of Islam, it is not your choice. It is not your choice. If I marry you according to the dictates of Islam, you cannot tell me, if I want to be polygamous, I'm going to be polygamous, whether you consent to it or not. If you don't consent now, you consent later. And you cannot divorce me as a woman under Islamic marriage because I married a second wife. Unless I married a second wife and I'm now treating you badly. So the only place where marrying a second wife is a problem, or the only two places, are church and court. Someone say Muslims, they enjoy well. No, be only Muslims. Traditionalists. Once you marry your wife traditional and you refuse to do court or church wedding, you don't have a register signed in a court of law or in a church, you can very well marry a second wife and the consequences will be slim. That's if you have any consequences at all. Someone said Islamically the wife has to consent to it. If the wife doesn't consent to it, she cannot file for a divorce. You know what? I want to also bring an Islamic scholar to educate us on Islamic law regarding divorce and polygamy. So men need to understand this. Someone said in the West, whether Muslim or Christian, polygamy is a huge crime. Agreed. And that's another point. If you want to be polygamous, don't live in the West. You can't decide that you want to live in America and be polygamous, or the UK and be polygamous. Someone is educating us on Islam, says you do not need the consent of the wife. No, someone says, but Yul is an intelligent guy and DF is seeing these things happening now, is becoming diabolical. Let me tell you, 90% of Nigerians do not understand the law or where the law stands. I remember one day having an argument today on this same live at this same time, maybe 3 months ago, and people were arguing with me that the traditional wedding is the court wedding is not superior to it. I said the court wedding was superior to traditional wedding. They said it's a lie, that traditional wedding is superior. I said, you guys don't understand this. So it is obvious that very few Nigerians have legal knowledge. You don't know what the law says. And your parents never bothered. You see, let me explain something to you here. And I'll use this as an example. When I was in the university, I've always said this before, of all my father's children, not all. My father has, I think I have a younger brother who is like me or maybe worse than me. But my 3 sisters and my immediate younger brother from the second marriage are near geniuses academically. My mom wanted me to be a doctor. My dad wanted me to be a doctor. I had no interest in medicine. Now, this doesn't mean I didn't understand medicine. Till now, there are very few things a doctor will talk about the human body that I will not understand, or at least have a vague idea of. So you can imagine when I was younger, I used to read my dad, but I didn't want a career as a doctor. I didn't want to wear shirt and tie. I didn't want to resume in an office and listen to patients and write prescription. I didn't want to do that. I had no interest. I wanted a fun life. I wanted to be a rapper. I thank God I didn't end up being a rapper, because everybody that was the rapper that time, they are all either broke, poor, they've forgotten most of them. Do you understand? But there's one main thing I wanted to talk about here. My mom got into my head. I did, when I was in SS3, I've told you the story before. I failed JAMB and WAEC. From when I was in SS1, my parents looked me from head to toe, decide, say they want to invest in JAMB and WAEC for me and GC. So every year I used to do JAMB, I used to do WAEC, and I used to do GC, and I used to fail the three. So in SS1, I did it and failed. Their own was, let him try it so he can understand. As in, una no even look picking we want try WAEC na me. Second, SS2, WAEC, GCE, JAMB, failed. SS3, WAEC, GCE, JAMB, failed. I now had to repeat. I wasn't serious. I wasn't going to classes. They'll drop me off in school. I just used to go and sit in a place and play, maybe attend one class a day, sometimes attend no class in 1 week. I had very little interest in academics. Finally, when I now failed so badly, and my papa flogged me to an inch of my life, my mother registered me with a math tutor, physics tutor. My mother registered me with math, with physics, with everything that she could find, just so that I can pass. I had different physics teachers, different math teachers, chemistry. At the end of the day, I was able to pass. And I had 2 A's and 5 credits. And I did okay in my JAMB. Instead of my parents to understand my limitations, the first thing what they said was, hey, we knew you could do it. You were just not applying yourselves. I did it so that I can get out of you people's house. I was tired of being in you people's houses where people will be getting under my skin and be harassing and frustrating me. So I focused. And let me tell you, the whole focus I focused to pass that JAMB like that. I used to read 30 minutes a day. I've never in my life, through university, been able to sit down and read for more than 30 minutes a stretch. When I was in sociology, I used to do like an hour, 2 hours towards the end. That's how I was able to pass. So what is somebody like me doing in medicine? I used to have a cousin called Chima, more like a family friend. His mom is from Romania too. He used to come and stay in my house. Anytime Chima stayed in my house, I used to be so angry. Chima will read for 8 hours effortlessly. We just sit down and be reading. My father will pass. Good morning, how are you? My father will pass, Chima will be reading. My father will go and walk, come back. Chima will be on that same spot reading. Me, I never wake. Then I finally wake. I don't go play somewhere. I don't go gist somewhere. So my father said, come, you and this boy are in university. When are you reading your own? I can't study. It gets on my nerves. But I'm going somewhere with this. So I shall struggle. Manage, sit down. Read for 30 minutes a day, pass that WAEC and pass that JAMB. Not because I wanted to go and read more books, but just so that I can get in university and get out of my parents' house. Instead of my parents to understand my limitations, what they now started doing was, you can do it. Now so they carry me go put for computer science. Vicapsi said it's boring. Hit the nail on the head. Go straight to the point. This is different from your topic. There are 605 people watching me now. Sorry, 611. Let me block you so you'll not have to deal with my boring comments. If you and Judy had watched my boring comments 5 years ago, they will not be where they are today in the legal mess that they're in, or that they seem to be in. So let me rapture you so that next time, and let me tell you, before I used to collect 50K and unblock. Right now, if you've been blocked permanently. No more. Go and open, if you want to watch Daddy Free so desperately, go and open a second Instagram account and use it. That's where we are now. So if you can come to my life and say it's boring, that's the end. There's no conversation you and I are having again. Is done, is gone. I don't want to curse you out, but I'll just decently tell you that you will, unless you want to go and open a new page, or you can use this your same old page to go and watch on Instagram, on TikTok, or on YouTube, but that you will watch on this this Instagram again. Never. Receive your rapture. Enjoy yourself. Can I continue with my boring story for those of you who are willing to learn? Finish. That's it. Blocking. That's the end. I'd rather have 300 or even 50 decent people than 600 comedians. I've been on this live for 22 minutes. Not one person has bought my star on Facebook. Not one person has sent super chats or super stickers on YouTube. Should you not be, oh, wow, I'm listening to Daddy Freeze, let me buy something on his page? You are there telling me that a show that I'm doing, as of now, it is free. Only on TikTok do I have somebody that bought me a money gun, Dondell Steven. Thank you very much. Only on TikTok. I have Sounds of Afro Daily, who's my #1 gifter. Only on TikTok. Should I not switch everybody off and just focus only on TikTok? If for me today, tonight, to be commercially viable, I am up at 2:15 Nigerian time. I'm up at 2:15 Nigerian time. Only TikTok is earning me money as of now. Everybody else is just watching for free. Should I not just switch everybody off and focus on TikTok? At least as I'm teaching, do you know why I'm not hyping my TikTok? Because it is interrupting the view for YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Because if I keep saying, double click the screen if you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen if you're watching on TikTok, send me money gun, send me this. TikTok people love it. They understand it. They've started sending the gifts and all that. But how does this benefit somebody on Facebook? Ishare, God bless you. How does this benefit somebody on YouTube? So I am not even selling my market because I believe what I'm teaching you today is very important. I believe that what I'm teaching you today is very, very important. That's why I'm not selling my market. And then somebody dares come to my live and say it's boring. That's the first thing he started with. If he had said, Daddy Freeze, go back to your original topic, I would say, okay, let me talk a bit on one and then get back to it. But you started with it's boring. Are you paying? You are using your data. Let me tell you how simple it is. Switch off your phone. You don't need to watch me. If you are paying me to watch this live, you can tell me that it is boring. The product that you are paying for is boring. Not when you come to my live for free and then I am teaching you what, by the time I'm done today, you will go home with a special new knowledge of the realities of life. Instead of you to appreciate what I'm doing, You are there telling me that I should go back to the original topic. So like I said, for those of you who are willing to learn, when I got my divorce, I believe I got my divorce for a reason. It was to teach people. It was to help liberate people. It was to help pass messages across to people. Let me continue my story so you will learn something. There is a very important message in that story. By the way, thank you so much, TikTokers. And somebody has finally sent something on, what is it called? On Facebook. Omwaki, thank you very much. And Josephine Davis, thank you very much. Ebby Ernest, started sending something on YouTube. That's now you are appreciating me. You can now say that the freeze. Oh, your matter is this, that. Let's go back to the point. And I understand. You are there. The people that are, somebody says is boring. Get out. I don't have to get out. All I need to do is get you out. I'm in a very good mood today. You people know me. You know that I'm not like this. In my mouth, I don't hear him. So I just rapture him. Someone says, did you at any time contribute to the failure of your previous marriage? Maybe we can learn from it. Oh, I contributed a lot. I contributed a lot. The failure of my previous marriage was a consequence of my ex and I. It wasn't her fault. I'm not going to sit down here and form Angel Michael. There were things she did to me that was wicked, and I'm sure there are things I did to her that were wicked too. But you see, the main thing is we were not meant to be. God bless you, Ada Blessing. I see you as you come in. We were not meant to be. You need to understand that some things are not meant to be. And the easiest way for me to explain this to people is by using my story. I'm going to mute the comment section so I can have your undivided attention on Instagram, because that's where people manage to talk too much. So I was telling you my story of how I finally was able to pass WAEC and JAMB eventually. And my parents, I remember my dad say, oh, now so you can do this. My mom also said I should do computer science. My dad didn't understand computer science. He felt I should do computer engineering, and that if the computer is bad, I can repair it. I don't know what he didn't understand it, but that was how he understood it. My mom, on the other hand, there was no computer engineering in UI, and I looked at myself from head to toe. That engineering, as in, una look me from head to toe. Una waiting una chop. Say make una carry me go put for engineering. As in, how did you people? As in, how? I have done WAEC 4 times before I pass. GCE 4 times before I pass. JAM 4 times before I pass. A combination of 12 exams before I was able to manage and pass. And you are not telling me to go and do library studies. You are not telling me to go and do music. You are not telling me to go and do education. You are telling me to go and do engineering. As in, waiting they do una. Waiting, as in, but you see, and that is why I want to go through with marriage. We have, I want you to write this down, unrealistic expectations. It stems from our society. Somebody is going to call you next week. You will receive an alert. Prophesy positivity into your life. Sometimes the positivity you are prophesying into your life is nothing but delusion. I found out the hard way. I went to enter computer science, and 2 years later, that I was not driven away from the university was a stroke of luck. Luckily for me, I wasn't attending classes because I was working on the radio and I was too busy building a radio career. I knew I was going to need radio. I knew radio was something I was going to do in the future. I did not know what I needed computer science for. So computer science became the backbench. Computer science was at the backbench. It was irrelevant to my life. That's how after 2 years, I did not meet the faculty requirements to move to 300 level. Luckily for me, because I did well in physics, I didn't have to attend class. I knew a bit of physics, and I found university physics to be easier than even secondary school physics if only you paid attention and you knew math. So I did well in my math courses, I did well in my physics courses, so I had the basic requirement to stay in the university. But I didn't have the basic requirements to continue in computer science. So I had to either repeat a year or go to a new faculty. I had met my ex then, and we used to go and read together. That computer science, if you don't follow each step by step, you will hate yourself. But I used to see that sometimes I used to go through my wife's note, my ex-wife's notes. I thought, I can't do this sociology. I could do the sociology because I just needed something to do and pass. My parents could not get it, but I just needed to do something and get out of the university and go and face my radio career. That's how I switched to sociology. My parents thought I was mad, blah, 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 blah. I just switched to sociology. Why am I telling you this story? Unrealistic expectations. When you go into a marriage, that marriage is expected to last. You are expected to be with that person you are getting married to for the rest of your life. Expected. Expectation. Statistics shows that as many as 50% of marriages end in divorce. Realistic expectation is that you are more likely or as likely to finish that marriage than to end it. And if it was 40% 5 years ago, trust me, it's going to be 55% 5 years from now. So if you go into a marriage without expecting to have a plan B, you are setting yourself, somebody says 52%. You are, thank you very much, Olatemi. You are setting yourself up for failure. That is why parents need to sit down with their children and ask them, what are your plans should your marriage fail? No parent in Nigeria asks this question. There was a day I was driving with a family member, and the family member says, my daughters, they want to attend. The person said, I can't wait to attend my daughter's wedding. I said, no, please stop it. I want my daughters to marry when they are ready, not when I'm ready. I don't want to go and dance at somebody's wedding and then start looking for a lawyer for my child 1 year later. You want to witness the wedding. Let me tell you, a successful wedding is 20 years in the making. My budget for a wedding, any of my children, maybe 5 million. I will never budget more than that. Why am I budgeting? You people need to understand that I don't want to hear about ceremony. Wedding is ceremony. It blurs the reality of what you are getting into. Marriage Instead of me giving you 5 million naira to marry you, let me give you 5 million naira so you can start a business with your husband, or so you can plow it into something you guys are doing together. I'll tell you a story. When my ex and I got married, we did not have a house. Now, also, the amount of suffering my ex and I suffered also was a contributing factor to what made, because we became very spiteful towards each other. I took out a lot of my frustration. Now, there was a time when I was also very poor with taste buds, but I was mature then, and I had, even then still, we almost still ended. But I was more mature and she was more mature, and we had both been through very bad marriages. So the maturity to handle the situation was available for the two of us, and we loved each other. Inside the shouting, inside the fighting, we loved each other. By the time my ex and I, who were much younger, went through 1 or 2 years of the hardship, we had fallen out of love. To be honest, I don't even think we ever really properly loved each other to the point where we're ready to stand with each other or stand for each other. Maybe in university, but by the time the reality set in, I personally can't remember properly loving her. At least not the way I love taste buds and I'm okay, this must work. I don't remember it. Maybe I was also immature then. So you need to understand that the marriage, the wedding, is one day. Before we got married, I was staying with my uncle and my aunt in Ikoyi. Big shout out to them. I appreciate the fact that even though we're not on talking terms again, because of still the way my ex and I ended, that's how to show you that when a marriage ends, you will make enemies from people who were normally your friends or family. People who pick sides, it gets messy. So I'm going to lock the comment section again because you guys are not concentrating. And this is very important. For me to not advertise my TikTok and my stars on Facebook and my super chats on YouTube, understand that this message I'm giving you is very important. Should I allow people to talk while if you are watching on TikTok, please come and buy my money guns. Oh yeah. Please, because if you are chatting, let me also sell my market. If you are watching on TikTok, I'm looking for my number 1 gifter, my number 2 gifter. Double click the screen if you're looking for my number. I want to see who my number 1 gifter is. Big shout out to Baba Eto, number 1. Baba Eto, number 1. Ishare is my number 2 gifter. Oh yeah. Pop those money guns. Viola, I see you. Pop those money guns. Who's going to be my number 1 gifter? Pretty Love on Facebook. Send me 1,000 stars. On Facebook, I'll only be greeting people that send me 1,000 stars and above. I'm just joking, but that's how it is. And on YouTube, where are my super chats, super stars, and super stickers? Oh yeah, pump them now. You people are chatting different from what I am telling you. So let me also use I've not sold my market all day, just waiting so that I can because some people are going to watch this tomorrow, and it is annoying when somebody is selling market in a serious topic. If I was just chatting, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, come and buy my super chat, super stickers, and super. But when somebody's going to sit down tomorrow and dedicate 1 hour to watch this video on either of the platforms, and the person is going to be angry when Daddy Freeze is selling his market. But how am I going to not sell my market when people are chatting on YouTube? They are chatting about the war in Niger. That's what they are talking about now. So it's like I'm just wasting my time. Let me sell my market. Young Roy just sent me a money gun. That's Young Roy, I think, is my number 1 gifter now. Is that true? Yes. Young Roy Haywise. That's my number one gift. I've got 3 money guns. Big shout out to Babaito, Rex in Regum, and Don Dol Steven. Yes. Keep pumping those money guns. Baba, make I sell my because I know they serious. Are people ready to be serious? Are people ready to be serious? Very good. In the meantime, please still buy my super chat, super stickers on YouTube. Oh yeah, super chat, super stickers. Buy my stars on Facebook and buy money guns on TikTok. Young Roy, I see you pumping. Thanks for the cap. So back to the conversation I was having with you. Many of you don't realize that the wedding is one day. Before my ex and I got married, first of all, back then my mom's career had not picked up. She was doing many things. I got my hustle spirit from my mom. I got my hustle spirit from both my parents. It's just that my mom hustled wiser. My dad hustled, very hardworking, but did not make the wise decisions my mom made. My dad's wise decisions to buy plenty land and buy plenty property and buy. My mom is to connect with the right people. So, and I see the difference in as they advance. My mom is doing so well. She's still taking. My mom does something for all her grandchildren every month. And do you know how many grandchildren my mother has? Like 12. And each one of them gets something from my mom every month. And my mom is 68. So my mom hustled, but hustled smarter. Hustled hard, but hustled hard and smart. But you see, at the time, my parents' firstborns are usually sacrificial lambs. If you are a firstborn, you'd understand this. My mom is 21 years older than me. 21 years old. That's how I calculate my mom's age to be 68 because I'm 47. So 21 is 68. My mom, as of that time, her career had not picked up. She was still a lecturer and she was working in a law firm at the same time. She had a research network she was a part of. She was also lecturing English to some Israelis who wanted to learn English. So my mom was doing all these things in one day, as in I used to be my mom's driver at a point. I would drive her to law faculty. She would do 2-hour lecture. From there, I would drive my mom to her chambers where she's going to prepare a paper. Then 1 hour later, I'll drive her to the network, the research network, where she's going to attend a meeting. Then I'll drive her to the school, the estate where she was teaching the Israeli people English. She'll be there for 3 hours. Then I'll drive her back to the network. Then I'll wait for her at the network to do 1 hour. Then I'll take her back to school because she has a 5 to 7 p.m. lecture. So I'll take her back to the university, hang around the uni till she's done at 7 o'clock, and then start driving her home. That was my mom's day. My mom had 4 offices, and she used to go to all the 4 every day. So what she was doing then was she was building social capital. Those students she was teaching then are the senior advocates of Nigeria, the politicians, the people in big places today. But then she was laying the foundation to her future today. My dad was working hard too, but he was more into buying land, building land. His practice as a doctor was fine, and he would try to invest in farming, but it didn't work. So at that time when I was 21, my mother was 42. So I am 47. If I were to remove 21 years from 47, when my mother was my age, I was 26. I was already married. I was already married. I married at 25. So by the time my mom was my age, her career just started peaking. So the resources to make life easy and comfortable for me as of that time were not really available. Me too, I don't jump, go give person belle. So we had to marry. Now, of course, my mom would take care of the most of my financial expenses. But then I'd gotten a job at Cool FM. Now my mom was the one giving me transport money to go to mommy. I want to go to Cool FM. My mom was the one that gave me transport money to go to NYSC camp. My mom was the one that, I remember having to go with night bus to camp. So I got a job. As soon as I finished my last exam, I got a job, went to Lagos. I just started in Cool FM. I used to literally sleep in the office, and I was staying with my uncle and aunt. 6 months down the line, I had to get married. I was so embarrassed when I had to tell my uncle and aunt that I had to get married, because me, I could not even get a house. They were waiting for me to get a house so I can leave their house. And I couldn't get a house 6 months later. The idea was I'll stay with them for a couple of months. A couple of months turned 6 months. My salary was 20,000 naira a month. The cheapest house I could find in Lekki was 150K. Now, how many months do I have to work to gather that 20K? And I had a car, I had to buy petrol, I had to eat. Do you know the food I was eating? I was eating biscuits and Coke. So I had to buy fuel. So inside that 20K, at best, I was saving 10K a month. So for me to get that 15K house, that 150K house, I had to work for 15 months, provided I was able to save 10K a month from my salary. So 6 months down the line, it was unrealistic for me to pack out of my uncle and my aunt's house. My ex was already pregnant. The pregnancy done the advance. So she came to Lagos one day and we started looking for a house. That's where we found, she even got the connect. We were able to get the house. Where I want to see 150,000 naira from. So it was while we're looking for the house that the baby came. No, the baby came in March. The first baby came in March. We got married in February. So we wanted to have the child, to get married before the child was born. So that's why we're looking for house and all that. In that February when we're getting married, my uncle brought me to the wedding in his latest Peugeot. Back then it was brand new. And my ex was brought to the wedding in an E-Class, a Mercedes E-Class that one of her uncles brought. Beautifully decorated. And we went to Ikoyi registry to get married. The moment we finished getting married, we now had a reception at Glover Court. It was very nice. There was food. Everything was quite nice. We were finished. And then reality set in. The E-Class was returned to the owner. The Peugeot was returned to the owner. Me and my ex had to enter my Tokumbo and drive to Ibadan to rest after the wedding. Creamy Sugar said, yes, I was there. Ha ha ha, I doubt it. But anyway, that's how it went. So we had a grand wedding, but the marriage started in penury. Don't you think it would have been better for them to give us the money? Let's even rent a house. We don't have a house to live in. I had to go back to my parents' house. My wedding night was spent in my parents' house. Then when I finished the wedding night, stayed a weekend, I had to get back to work. From my parents' house, I moved back to my uncle and my auntie's house in Lagos. Yes, Gabby was there. Gabby was definitely there. Gabby knows this story I'm telling you. When Gabby says, well, that is my brother Gabby, he was there. He knows the story. So what am I telling you in essence is the wedding is not what's important. The marriage is what's important. Many of you would spend a lot of money on a big wedding only for the reality of the marriage to set in. And many of your parents are so eager to get you married. Oh, let's have a wedding. Let's have a wedding. Oh, yes, your father wants to show his village people that his daughter is getting married. Your grandmother wants to show her village people that, oh, my son's first daughter is getting married. They are focused on the ceremony, ignoring the reality. Nobody contributes except rich, really rich people. Nobody contributes towards the marriage. They contribute towards the wedding. Your uncle, where you never see, go show. I remember one of my uncles, I never seen him for like 5 years. They spray me money as I did dance for the wedding. They spray me money. But my reality was setting in. Now, at this stage, parents should actually sit their children down and tell them, what if you have a divorce? What if this marriage you want to go into does not work? Speak motivation. I agree. I understand. But can we look at reality? Reality says more marriages will end than the ones that will work. If 52%, if the divorce rate is 52%, it means successful marriage rate is 48%, which is less than 52%. So if you are more likely to get divorced than to get married, can we talk about this divorce? Can we talk about this divorce? Can you and your husband sit down, even if you find it, I can't talk, I love my wife too much, I can't talk about divorce with her. And I work very hard to make sure we don't have a divorce. But I want to ask you, don't you think it is the right thing to do for you to actually sit down and think of a divorce situation, how it will play out? Where would the children live? Are you guys going to be able to be friends after the divorce? What if somebody wants to move on? There are uncomfortable conversations. One day I had to sit down with taste buds and remind her of all my internet banking passwords. I wanted to remind her of all my safe passwords. I wanted to remind her of all my assets. It was a very uncomfortable conversation. I had to show her how the tokens to my account work, because God forbid, should anything happen to me, I would rather my wife eats my money than the bank eats it. I would not want to leave this world and I have money stuck in the bank and my child is hungry. Death is another thing you need to have an uncomfortable conversation about with your spouse. You see, when people hear death, they think, oh, for you to die, you must have cancer, advanced stage, HIV. You think, oh, you must be doing a high risk job. A medical student went to collect the food she ordered 2 days ago. got into a lift on the 10th floor and the lift crashed and she died. She was not sick. She was not in a plane crash. She was not even in a car crash. She was not in a high-risk environment. She was not in Sambisa forest. She was at work, stepped into a lift to go and collect her food from a vendor, and that was the end. God bless you, Simba. Thank you so much for that money gone. She was even a doctor. God bless you. 2 more weeks to finish her housemanship. There are conversations you have to have with your spouse. Kathy says something, and I'm going to pin this. Thank you, Kathy, for joining us last night. It was wonderful hosting you. Data against the success of marriage means it needs to be under major scrutiny. Something that is more likely to fail than to succeed. You must enter it applying precautionary measures. If you are entering a marriage, you must put some measures in place. What if there's a divorce? How are we going to handle it? I was talking to an oncologist the other day. We're talking about someone who just caught their cancer very quickly, early stage. And I made a comment. I said, some people will see this thing, or they will say, I reject it, I reject it, I reject it. You know what the doctor said? He said, come to the world. Let me show you where the people that reject things are kept. By the time you finally accept the cancer, it has eaten into your bone. So we need to have. Why do you think they sell life insurance? If they thought you were going to live forever, would they sell you life insurance? The reason why life insurance is marketed is because there is a possibility of the loss of life. If your life were guaranteed, there will not be what do they call it? Life insurance. Same thing with marriage. And you all need to understand this. We are not learning our lessons. I went through divorce I filed, my ex left in 2014. I filed in 2015. 2015 to now is about 8 years. If you had learned from my story, he probably would have done things differently. So, look at the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, or Trudeau, whatever you call him. He just got a divorce. Marriage is ending. He tweeted it. Let me read his tweet to you guys. Hi everyone, Sophie and I would like to share the fact that after many meaningful and difficult conversations, we have made the decision to separate. As always, we remain a close family with deep love and respect for each other and for everything we have built and will continue to build. For the well-being of our children, we ask that you respect our and their privacy. Thank you. Canadian Prime Minister, in a system that works. They are separated. As far as I'm concerned, once you separate, the next thing is divorce. Big Pen says Trudeau is getting divorced, but Big Pen is getting married. Congratulations, brother. So that brings us to the reality of our expectations. Someone said it's a separation, not a divorce. The likelihood that after a separation there won't be a divorce is very small. So let's manage our expectations. So if these are, or if this is the reality, we need to start having uncomfortable conversations, even with our children. Right now, you think one of my daughters wants to marry, or Ada wants to marry, and I'll not sit her down and say, okay, what are your plans should there be a divorce? I will have that conversation. Ada will say, are you wishing me bad? I'm not wishing you bad. I'm wishing you reality. You are more likely going to divorce than stay married. Statistics does not favor you. So that's why aeroplane will announce, in the unlikely event of an emergency landing, deploy the emergency doors. You hear it all the time. 1 out of 1,000 planes crash. Meanwhile, more than half of every marriage ends in divorce, and nobody is reading you. You know, you get on a plane, every single plane you get onto, you need to give them your attention for 5 minutes while they say, hey, buckle your seatbelt like this, you put this place like this, oxygen mask will come from the cabin above you, wear your own before you wear somebody's own, in the likely event of cabin pressure, blah, 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 blah. In a 1 out of 1,000 chance, 1 out of 1,000 chance, maybe I think it's even 1 out of 10,000, the likelihood of an emergency landing, I think it's 1 out of 10,000. They brief you for the unexpected. But in a situation where you are more likely going to fail than stay married, you are not given any briefing. So we're going to keep having conversations around this. Tomorrow I'm going to continue in this vein. I don't want to stay longer than this because I'm really tired, and tomorrow I'm going to have more time for this. But I want you all to think about this. You notice that today I don't curse anybody. This matter, I don't even sell my market. I feel so bad about it. I'm here live. Simba, Ishare, Babaeto, my number 1 and my number 2 and my number 3 gifter. Follow my number 1, my number 2, and my number 3 gifter. Let me just leave the next 5 minutes. Let me just leave the next 5 minutes. God bless you, Kathy. I even heard Stella Damascus divorced her 3rd husband. It doesn't mean she's bad. That's the reality of life. And the man she divorced from is also a divorcee. So let me allow you a few minutes. Double click my screen if you're watching on TikTok. Let me allow a few minutes for those of you who want to give their gifts that I did not collect all the while. If you're watching on Instagram, go to Facebook, search for Daddy Freeze, DADDYFREEZE. Scroll down to the bottom left-hand corner of today's video. You'll see how to buy my stars. If you're watching on YouTube, super chat, super stickers, super chats, super likes. Someone said Damascus. I beg your pardon. Forgive me. Someone says, no, now you don't want me to go. I've been on for 1 hour. We're going to continue the conversation tomorrow. It's not something we are going to do. This is not a one-off conversation. Divorce, especially in the light of way. Now, do you realize that you can actually be made to pay that 100 million naira? Do you realize that you does not have access, according to what we read in the bulletin, does not have access to his matrimonial home or his children? That is the reality of a divorce. If he was prepared, Judy herself is divorced. So I'm going to close the live in a few minutes. If you're watching on TikTok, send me those money guns. I'm sorry, I've not advertised since I not sell my market. I leave the market begin to teach una, and that's why I got so upset when people were talking nonsense. Let me bring Ada for 1 minute. Ada, come and tell us what you think about what I've said. Let me just get some feedback. Let me get up and start doing other things. TP, saw you, bro. Thanks for the gifts. Beauty, how are you doing?
I have to
I
take off
blew
my
Femi.
bed.
Yes, Ada. Let me hear your
Hello,
thoughts.
boss. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my darling. You've gone to do long braids.
No, I've always had it, just that it was always like this. So,
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
let me hear you.
Dear, first of all, I must thank you for this, do I say, conversation today. Yeah, because it's something that most people in this part of the world don't want to. It's a conversation that most people in this part of the world never want to have. Everybody gets into marriage, especially with this church wedding, with the ideology that it will work. It's an institution orchestrated by God, so the devil will not step in. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So they get into it with that ideology, and oftentimes, even when it's toxic, they tend to want to make it work going by that narrative. But with everything you said, I totally agree because I am from a divorced home, something
Hmm.
I've never seen online before, even on the radio. My parents are no longer together. And I bet you, if they had that conversation, I bet maybe my life and that of my brothers would have been a lot easier. Because right now, since the conversation was not had, they went into it and things went south. It's now being saddled. Like 80% of the responsibilities are now being saddled on the kids because they did not plan for it happening and they didn't manage it well. But if such conversations were had, at
Hmm.
least they would have said, okay, this, because my dad has about two houses and some lands and three cars. At least they would have said, oh, this one allocated for this one, you go this way. But since it just happened abruptly, they're not even in talking terms. And the kids have their own whatever to experience. So people should get into marriages with not necessarily a plan B, having a partner, right? To a second partner to like want to fall back on when things go south. But at least think of your kids, think of yourself, just in case it doesn't work, you have what to fall back to. Take for instance, if we were not, I'm talking about the kids, if we were not responsible for ourselves, maybe we were still toddlers. I bet you most of us would not have gone to school because my dad had the upper, I mean, he's more financially stable than my mom. So it would have been on us, but I'm so glad that it happened when we're already independent. So parents, partners should learn to have these uncomfortable conversations. And also, um, going by my past relationship, maybe I would have made the same mistake, but going by my past relationship, how I was 101% invested because I thought that was going to be it. And with everything that happened, which I'm not going to share because Dave, you know the story. Trust me, if such conversations were had, like, okay, I went into it 50-50, maybe it wouldn't have had that much effect on me. I think, yeah, people should just learn to have this conversation. So thank you so much, Dave. I paid keen attention to it because I learned a lot from you. Aside you being my father and friend, I enjoy your life because every day is an eye opener.
Thank you so much for that. And I believe my story is Sometimes I come out and I'm angry. I haven't seen my kids in 7 years, which is a consequence of the divorce. That's how far I consider myself lucky. I no go see pikin. You no see pikin, and they still say go pay 100 million. At least I no pay anybody any 100 million. You understand?
Yeah.
Sometimes when a man leaves a marriage, he is left with nothing. Nothing. When a divorce happens, sometimes a man will be left with nothing. So these are lessons you need to learn. You need to understand. If you climb
You
on a plane that is not likely to crash and they still give you briefing for a crash, why don't you give yourself briefing for a divorce?
absolutely. Dear, let me ask something. I guess if my parents had done court marriage, just like what you did yesterday, maybe my dad would have not had anything. But I don't want to say thankfully. Maybe he was smart enough. He did just traditional, and it favored him. So the divorce favored him because my mom left with nothing.
She left with nothing.
Absolutely. Like, who are you gonna consult? The elders?
Hmm.
They'll be in favor of the man. She left with absolutely nothing. And yeah.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So every day you're spitting facts. Yesterday when you said that, I was just like, okay. Mm-hmm. Ah, my dad, he gets sense, Sha.
You see, I need to also ring something true, and a lot of people don't seem to get it. As a man, your right to have more than one wife ends the day you walk down a church or court aisle. The day you walk down a church aisle or a court aisle, you lose that I am a man, I can marry many wives, I'm a man, I can have many girlfriends. You lose that right that day. Now, someone said that's in Nigeria. There are many people who will not live in anywhere else than Nigeria. There are many people. I will not want to be married abroad. I will not want to. Because I would not want to be in old age hustling to take care of somebody who has left me. If me and my wife divorce, okay, take whatever you brought into the marriage. I also
That
know
was
that if I
that
have,
was what they did. That was that was what they did. They took whatever they had individually. No one encroached into the other person's properties.
but you see, in a situation like mine, I would owe my wife something because she helped me build. I'm not talking about my ex now. Taste buds, for instance, God forbid. She helped me build the free nation.
Okay.
She also sacrificed for me to become whatever it is that I became. So it will be unfair for me to say, okay, it's only what she brought to the marriage that I will give her. Of course, I'll have to. Whatever I have, will have to, unless I'm not doing well. But you see, that idea of I owe you half. No, no, I don't support that one. No.
If the lady invested so much in the relationship, I think you should owe her half. Well, if you were the sole provider 100% in the relationship, and then just because the marriage is ending, then she now feels she's entitled to your belongings. No, that's wrong.
100% that's wrong. That's very wrong.
That's wrong. If the man was the sole provider, you have no business there. Both of you were invested in the relationship. Both of you, I mean, had whatever you had to make children. So why? But if you contributed 20%, 40, you have every right to take part of his dividend.
Now, let me now tell you something. If you ask my ex will also believe that she suffered and helped me grow. That one no be true. Now, wala she give me. Wala.
It's relative. There were good days as well in that relationship.
But I cannot. The fact that you gave me a good day does not mean you sacrificed and helped me grow my career. When I come home from the career and it is fight to fight me.
Well, in 365 days, you can't tell us that she gave you wahala 364 days.
Okay, for the 2 days you did not give me wahala, I'll calculate your salary for those 2 days. I mean somebody actually sacrificing something. I mean going out all the way to make my career a success. Now taste buds do that one for me. And that is why uh, I personally believe that when a woman is like this to you, you owe her. Anyway, guys, that's as far as we can go tonight. Thank you all so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, boss.
Time and sacrifice. Sacrifice, not time. If you gave me your time and the time you gave me was so that you can talk me down or you can be suspicious and paranoid about me, you understand what I'm telling you? You did not give me your time.
And both parties give time. If both of you are spending time together, he's also wasting his time.
Let me give you an example. A woman where they deny in husband knacks, but they complain say the husband dey knack outside. It's funny to me. You understand? It's funny to me. You are denying your husband and then you are angry that your husband is going outside. I'm just giving you an example. If you have a husband in a high, like say you go marry somebody like RMD, you can't decide say you no wan give am knack. No worry, he will be alright. Someone like RMD wey in old age, the whole women for the world won't die give am. You understand? You understand? Women, if RMD wants to marry 6 wives today, they will have willing women that will come forward and say, Oga, marry me. So you also need to understand that I give you my time. What did you give me my time doing? Ada, what's your favorite food?
I don't think I have.
What food will you never walk into an eatery and order?
Please, you should not come after me, Amala.
Okay. So imagine, I love Ada so much. I send her amala for breakfast, amala for lunch, and amala for dinner every day for a month. I've put in effort, have I not? I've tried. Will people say, oh, they'll say what a romantic. But you see, I'm sending her what she does not like. But in my mind now, I'm investing, I'm spending time. No. Don't dictate, don't give me what you like. Like, let me give you an example. I don't like pap. Or I like pap minimally. I can have pap. I can yearn for pap maybe once in 2 years. Once in 2 years. My ex, because as a child she had constipation, she used to make pap every month. She would go and buy the corn, grind the corn, now sit down and do the pap. You know the way they do it, the way Yoruba people do it. They will hold one bowl, they will do it like this. You know, anybody will be Yoruba sabi how they do pap. The whole house will smell because pap smells, it's fermented corn. The whole house will be a mess. Then at night, I now say, auntie, come, let's do. Oh, I'm tired. I've been working so hard so that people can have food to eat. They tell you, say, I want chop pap. You spent the sieving, God bless you. You spent the whole day cooking what you like, and then you are now making it look like you were working hard to give me food. They tell you, say, I did chop pap. So in her own mind, she's putting in effort. In my mind, you will now. There's something that she used to cook for me. It's called kundi, dried, whether na horse meat or camel meat that they take do am. It's called kundi. When she comes home from the market and says, I spent the last 3 hours looking for kundi, I finally found it. Now you did something for me. Now you, because then I'm going to smell the kundi as they take and cook stew. I'm going to smell am. Hey, my body cook on the sweet me. Now you did something for me. The pap is useless to me. Don't make it look like that you did. It's not for. I remember one day I got so angry I poured the pap away. We're having a quarrel. I poured the pap. Papa, she go wash my iPad inside shower. That's how much she valued pap.
Wow.
But me, on the other hand, do you now understand? The day she goes to buy kundi in the market and spend, because for you to get kundi, you have to waka inside the market before you go see where they sell kundi. So when she goes to the market and brings kundi home, you have tried for me. I appreciate you.
You like pap?
What?
Was she aware that you didn't like pap?
I communicated it in every possible way. I'm not crazy about it. I don't. And pap used to be our food every Saturday. And if you don't eat it, I cooked for you, did not eat. Did I ask you to cook pap? So what I'm trying to say in essence is, sometimes our contribution to a relationship is a lot to us, but to the person we are contributing to is valueless. It's like me sending Ada Amala every afternoon. Hey, somebody sent me a lion. Oh, thank you so much. That's so cute on TikTok. That is really so cute. I am Joyce. Thank you so much for that beautiful lion. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beauty by Glory, I see you too. Simba is my number 2 gifter. Guys, follow I am Joyce. That's my number 1 gifter right now. Follow I am Joyce. So, I hope I've been able to explain this to you with some clarity. Let me go. Let me allow you guys to catch up with your nights. Ada, I'm going to. Someone says, Daddy Freeze, you sound like you're wearing that kind of understanding husband, though. I wasn't understanding. I was young, I was immature, and I don't want to be an understanding husband. I want to be a happy husband. Make me happy, then I'll understand. You cannot be making me unhappy, then I'm understanding inside your unhappiness. Hello, magic in your food, in your show food.
That's debatable.
No, if I'm not happy, you cannot get anything from me. Like Ada now, I'm giving Ada Amala every day. Amala, 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 Amala. I'm spending my money. I'm not taking Ada to go and watch the movies. I'm not being romantic with her. I'm not listening to her talk about her issues, but I'm buying her Amala every day. I'm buying her Amala every day. And I'm expecting Ada to be understanding. It will get to a time understanding will become frustration. Thank you, Atena. Thank you, all of you who decided to come and show me love on TikTok. TikTok people can be so nice. Isha Ray, thank you so much for your gifts. Thank you so much for your gifts, Isha Ray. I think I've tried. Good night, everyone. I'm going to be back tomorrow. I didn't come on live today at all. I'll probably do a quick sermon in the morning, and then we'll have our gist in the afternoon, and then in the evening, and in the middle of the night, like we always do for our broad audience, because there's 400 people watching on Facebook, 700 at a point on Instagram, about 200 on YouTube, and 120 on TikTok. Once again, my number one gifter is I Am Joyce. I always promise to follow my number one gifter at the end of every session, and please follow her. I'm following I Am Joyce. I Am Joyce, I really appreciate your gifts today. You've really, really made me happy. Thank you so much. And everyone on TikTok, literally, it's been raining gifts on TikTok. That's why sometimes I'm so angry. I'm like, Instagram will not do anything, Facebook will not, and they'll be now complaining it is boring. If it was boring, why are the people on TikTok being so nice? God bless you, Henry the Great. I'm sorry I've got to go. I'm really tired. I shouldn't even have come live tonight at all. Oju baby,
Yeah,
I'm supposed
supposed
to
to be a
call you. Eh?
matchmaking. Today was supposed to be matchmaking.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Tomorrow night we're gonna have matchmaking.
Yes, I think I need someone
Yes.
now. I think I found him.
Who? Made my yo, Abi.
Gabzola. No, Gabzola. I've changed my mind.
Gabzola. Okay. Tomorrow we will do some matchmaking in the middle of the night. Let's have fun. Let it not be serious talk all the time. So we'll have our serious talk during the day. Then we'll look for husband for you people. Oju baby, don't make sure you're around tomorrow. In fact, I'll call you during the day. Samaria, make sure you're around. Now my customers be that. Everybody wants to marry Oju. Everybody wants to marry Samaria. And if you see the kind of people they apply, sometimes I dey even pity Oju. I know they send them to around. Say, hey, now you want marry Oju. Hiya, kai, yo. So thank you so much once again, my TikTok family. I love you guys so much. You guys really came through for me. Um, Gabzola, take care. Tomorrow, you guys are gonna see me live. Take care. God bless, and
Bye.
I love you all.
Bye.
Bye. TikTok. Bye. Number one gifter. I am Joyce. Thank you so much.